Alright guys, welcome to my monster review of Enhanzor, a Blossom Era Thunder and Dark Anticipation attacker. Now, off just that description, he sounds amazing. Really cool finisher, actually. It goes in two parts. But I was never really a big fan of him. He seemed pretty bland, although he has the shock mechanic, and with anticipation, that's actually an amazing combo. Let's go over it. So first, his lore. After being attacked by Shivery in his ship, Enhanzor sent the Nightmare Abomination in the coldness of space. While he thought fast that time, there's a chance he might not be so lucky if Shivery returns again. Ironic thing about this is that he's a pretty viable monster in all matters, right? And Shivery is like the worst monster ever. Like, it's ugly and it's useless and it's just not even funny. So I don't get why this is a predator for him. It just shows you like lore and skills don't always match up. But I just thought that was funny. So his finisher, Light in the Night, deals very heavy special damage to all enemies. So it's special. So if it's, if there's Galvanus there, who's a very prominently popular Thunder monster, or let's say Kanekra or Lord Heyman, or actually Lord Heyman, because Kanekra has dodge area, you'll do special damage instead of dark damage or thunder damage. So it's impartial. You'll just be doing heavy raw damage, and that's good, so that your element doesn't get messed up and you do less. And then does shock, nightmares, and bleed. So really good. 3 dots stacked with that much damage. I like that. So with that said, let's check out his trait. So at rank 0, he has the trait that really gives him his best usability, like the thing you come to him for, anticipation. This is just an amazing trait. When any enemy performs an extra turn skill, this monster will get an extra turn before. Extra turns are so popular in the meta, it's not even funny. Like, we've got Omnia, Shadonia, Light Voltaic. I could go on and on. Even in the high meta, where you would think anticipation would just squash them, people don't even use it anymore because they need to use the extra turn monsters too because it's so powerful. So that led us for a while to just an era where there was no anticipation in the monster, and people like Dark Voltaic and Light Voltaic could just dominate. And even though this guy has one bad element, like Thunder is a pretty good element for the meta right now. It's very bland. There's no counters, but there's no weaknesses either really to it. But being dark in the light Pierce meta, really tough time. But I honestly think he still might be viable for the same reason that Nishant the Great might be viable, which is he's the anticipation. And this is immediately an amazing thing in war. In war, you are just going to fight extra turn monster, Omnia and Shadonia after Omnia and Shadonia. So this gives you an immediate counter, and this means you can tear up their team while they try and damage yours. Hopefully you can kill them in time. It's just an amazing trait, instant viability. His rank 1 trait is very disappointing. If he fought himself, he'd be immune to his own shock, but that's it. He has like 1 extra turn damage move, which kind of goes against him being an anticipation monster. So I don't really get why you would need to be immune to shock. So yeah, weird choice, especially on a anticipation monster who's a counter to extra turns, to have to be immune to a counter to extra turns. But since he has 1 extra turn move, I'll give him that. It's not completely useless. Then you have immunity to stun. It's really bad. But there's Teddy Bomb. That's the only thing I can say about that. Any immunity to one thing has to be really situational in order to be good. Like, if you're immune to possession, that's pretty great if you're fighting Lord Heyman, but if you're fighting Teddy Bomb, it's useless. And that goes hand in hand for like every single immunity in the game. That's why people love immunity to control and immunity to torture so much, because then you're all around immune and you don't have to worry about which one they're bringing. So just immunity to stun is almost irrelevant. I guess there's some monsters who still use it, but you definitely aren't going to fight it in the meta. Maybe like Tyrant's Ideas, and it tries to land a Mega Stun, and this helps you block it, but that is the most I can see you getting out of that, sadly. Then at rank 4, he actually has a pretty great trait because they started pumping out Abomination monsters left and right during the Blossom era. It was basically, or not Blossom era, Galactic era. It was basically the Abomination era. That's what I always called it. So you have a hater against a ton of them, and it's really strong. So if you fight one of them, and the only notable ones I can think of off the top of my head are Lord Cthulhu, or Cthulhu the Great, or the Great Cthulhu. One of those. He's a great guy. Cthulhu, and oh my god, Cthulhu is literally the cover of it. and Rarus, but those are the only even close to meta abominations you'll find. And Snowgross with 7 sins. But other than that, it's kind of barren to find them in the meta. But when you do, this guy will hit like a truck, instant kill. So that's really good. And then you have a status caster, Nightmares to all enemies at the start of the battle. For what it's worth, it's just a dot to help stack up damage, right? And he reapplies it in his skill set, so you didn't really need it. But you have it, so for what it's worth, it's not the worst. Now let's go over his skill set. So first, Bloodthirsty Alien. Oh, I really like this move. 0 stamina, 0 cooldown, heavy thunder damage. So it's not like moderate, it's not some low AoE with 30 stamina. It's 0 stamina, 0 cooldown, heavy thunder damage to one enemy. Definitely going to run this in his skill set. It's like a spammable attack. I really like this. And it's thunder and not dark, which, well, actually, I would have liked dark more because I believe thunder has the advantage over thunder and dark with, I believe thunder, I didn't know it actually said that. That's actually kind of cool. Thunder has the advantage over water. You don't really see water that much in the meta, although we're in the Abyssal era, so expect to soon. So thunder element might start popping off, and in that case, light voltage is going to be amazing. I would have rather it be dark. All of his dark moves are going to have an extra kick because it works against one, King Autumn very well. King Autumn is still a destructive force, and the fact that he's an earth monster means you want your dark monsters to be able to attack him. And Uriel. So definitely going to run this 0 stamina, 0 cooldown. Then you've got Space Mercenary, 0 stamina, 0 cooldown, low AoE. As I just said, this is nowhere near as good. Then you've got Heavy Protons. Deals heavy thunder damage. Okay, only a little bit more than this one. Applies Nightmares and Shock. So 2 dots on a 1-turn cooldown, 36 stamina. For that much damage, it's not bad by any means. It's pretty great, but I really don't know if it's worth it. Like, he has a ton of high damaging skills, so maybe you just go for the 0 stamina, 0 cooldown instead of the 1 stamina, 32 cooldown. No, 36. Because, like, sure, there's not very much of a requirement here, but if you're going to be only super strong or weak, you'd rather be super strong and then have this as your just in case. But it does have 2 dots, and I'll give it that. Then you've got Dark Shell. Applies damage boost, blocks out 50% of incoming damage, requires cooldown. Just a self-buff skill. Pretty bad. Just a damage boost and damage mirror. It's clear that this is like the smaller one compared to this one. Then you've got Charged Blades. This is a really loaded attack right here. It's got the exact same stats as this one, but for a lot more bang for your buck. So Charged Blades applies Abomination Hater to himself. All right. I didn't know they did genders on certain monsters. Deals insane thunder damage to one enemy, applies shock to all enemies. So the Abomination Hater is immediately pretty great. So even if he's not at rank 3 and you do fight an Abomination and you're like, oh man, I should have, if I was at rank 4, I'd have my Hater, you don't have to worry about that because you can just apply that before you do insane thunder damage. That is just amazing. That damage output is crazy. So that is like a pretty good, as close as you'll get to an instant kill shot as you can. That's like 90 damage or 85. And then an AoE shock, I really like that bit. Because as I said, any monster with shock is probably going to lean into that because, the meta is so extra turn heavy. So the fact that he has shock and an AoE on a single attack, so you can probably take out that dodge area monster while giving the rest shock. And if they're an abomination, worse off for them. Pretty great. Then you've got Lightning Strike. I'm conflicted on this move. Seems like all of his moves are 1-turn cooldown, 36 stamina. Oh my god. Lightning Strike deals moderate thunder damage to one enemy, applies shock. So this could help you stack up damage. If you see an Omnia and you can only single target, but you need to do an AoE shock, you can boom, do your Lightning Strike to her, and then do your AoE or do your instant kill. Or maybe this plus Charged Blades is the amount of damage you needed to stack up for an instant kill. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here. I think it's really great for stacking up damage for that 1 turn, 1 kill. But I'm really not sure if it's good enough because it's only like 25% damage with 1 dot. And it's a whole extra turn. So you're kind of like baiting yourself for other anticipation monsters, which is the last thing you want. I'm going to run it, but let's see if he's got anything better. Shadow Energy. I think you got to run this. Deals heavy dark damage to all enemies, applies Nightmares. So not only does this give you another dot to work within your skill set, but it gives you a heavy dark AoE, which in my mind, this is just screaming out to me as the King Autumn killer, right? Like that's what this move is for. It's as your counter to King Autumn. Sadly, he doesn't have any strong singles, so against Uriel, he's kind of useless, or he's just as strong as the next random element attacker. So he doesn't have an advantage against Uriel, even though that's what the dark element you would think it would do. But I think this move, just because it's a very strong AoE, and in this skill set you don't even have any, you need it. Plus, add the fact that it's dark against King Autumn, and that's good enough reason. Then you've got anti-gravity suit. Applies Abomination Hater, immune to control, and double damage to itself. So this I'm conflicted on. Any worthwhile denier can remove your positive effects, then deny you. So the immune to control wouldn't even mean anything. And the Abomination Hater and double damage, the Abomination Hater is situational. The double damage could get cleansed away. I just don't like any move that is only positive effects unless it has positive effect protection. Like Kanekro has cold blood and double damage. That alone wouldn't be worth running, but it has positive effect protection. So even if you do run into those worthwhile deniers, they can't cleanse it away. But this is not the case here. Immune to control would be convenient, but I honestly think it's not worth it when he has such good other moves. So up for the contenders for this last lot, unless you decide to run this, which I don't know. Immune to control and double damage is pretty good, but I just don't think you're going to use it that often. You are stuck between Dark Protons, which is heavy, which is about 55, not 60. Thunder damage to one enemy applies Nightmare and Shock, so you have a 1 turn cooldown, 36 stamina, 2 dots, and heavy thunder damage. Or you can just go 0 stamina, 0 cooldown, so that if they activate your cooldown, sure, you could have a 1 turn cooldown, or you could have a no turn cooldown. If they take away all your stamina, you can have a 36, which is low, or you can have a no. So I gotta say, run Bloodthirsty Alien. It's amazing skill. You really don't need to hit like the 2 weakest dots ever on one opponent if you run Lightning Strike. And if you don't like Lightning Strike because you feel like its damage is too low, run Dark Protons instead. He's definitely a pretty great monster. I don't know why I was really against him for a while. Like, not really against him, but I was like, I really don't like this guy. Because I just had Nishant the Great. I bought him, and I was like, Nishant the Great is better. This guy's bad. But I see him as just a very strong attacker. Only thing is, the Dark Element really puts him down. And the fact that he is a raw damage output attacker, which basically means like he doesn't really buff himself that much, but he just relies on the fact that he does insane damage, very heavy damage. That alone gives him a pretty good spot in my books. But the fact is, he's already 2 generations old and massively outdated in the strength stat, thanks to the weirdly insane buff they gave to the Abyssal and Ancestors. So he's really outdated on the strength stat, so you really can't just rely on the fact that his stats go crazy. I think he's an amazing monster and definitely worth ranking up. If I wasn't ranking up like the absolute best monsters I have right now, I would definitely suggest ranking this guy up. Although my rule, if any of you guys saw my Teddy Bomb review, is I don't deck them out with the runes or anything unless I plan to rank them out soon or use them in war immediately. I think I got like enough cells to rank him up just by playing Bounty Hunt. Maybe, maybe not. This guy is definitely a great monster pick, and I definitely think you should rank him up if he is your best option. Keep in mind that he's old, high raw damage. It doesn't always work these days. But the fact that he has anticipation and the fact that, actually, anticipation is really his biggest thing. He's just not that necessary in my mind, but he is a pretty good attacker. I'm not going to deny that. Definitely worth it. Definitely an interesting skill set. I really want to use this monster, but I just have to debate whether it's worth ranking him up or Jaeger Year-End up first. So thank you so much for watching this far. I really hope that you found this video helpful, that it helped you decide on if you're going to rank him up, how good he is, stuff like that. If you watched this far, that's really all the support I need from you. Thank you so much. Please leave a comment of your thoughts on him down below. What did you think of him? Do you think he's like better than Nishant the Great or worse? Because I have Nishant the Great at rank 4, so I just permanently look down on this monster because his skill set is like basically the same, but Nishant has a status caster magic weakness, so I just play the superiority card. What are your thoughts on that? Is he still viable? Are you going to rank him up? You tell me in the comments down below. And subscribe to join the Crab Army. We are at 215 subscribers, and we're only going up. Thank you all so much for that. Number is insane. But I promise you guys, I'm not going to let up anytime soon. The Omni-Crab Army is only going up. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it helpful. And I hope to see you in the next one. That's about it for this one. Your favorite Omni-Crab signing out.